Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are ready to land this thing, and I think we should land it right about here-ish. I don't really want to land it on this outcropping sort of thing up here, this hill. I'd rather land it in a kind of lower point, so maybe like here. And we're just going to do a very simple drop-in. Kill vertical speed, like so. And then we're just going to drop. So go ahead and execute that node mech jub, and then after that, I will take it from there. Now, we have a lot of speed to kill. We should probably have landing and maybe surface on. Our vertical speed is pretty low right now, but that will change. Our horizontal speed is where almost all of our speed is, and we're going to be killing virtually all of that with this right here. This particular burn. We have a lot of fuel left in our nuclear stage. I should probably go ahead and stow these photovoltaic panels though, and maybe our transmitter as well. Probably our transmitter as well. Please stop, X Science. Stop the warp. Or stop stopping the warp. There we go. That's what I'm looking to say. Okay, so we will be around there momentarily. Excellent. And, of course, we are 4 years into this mission. This place is quite a ways away. We will be doing our braking burn momentarily. Hopefully it's a pretty flat area. It looks kind of flat-ish. Heavy on the ish. Okay. So we are coming in for a landing now. Excellent. How are we doing in terms of that landing? Well, our vertical speed is almost nil currently. We are working virtually entirely on horizontal speed, but our vertical speed is now starting to accumulate due to gravity. So very soon, we may actually be landing on that slope, but that's okay. That's what we have brakes for. So one thing that I did want to make sure that I did is stow our photovoltaic panels that are attached to the actual rover. We do not want those to break. And then the other question is, how are we doing on our antenna? Well, we should have a pretty solid connection to the Odd One Mark V, actually. It's in a pretty good spot. So I think we probably can stow this antenna and have a relay connection. Let's find out. Yep, we've got ourselves a relay connection. Fantastic. So let's go to surface velocity minus. We are currently about... oh, look at that. Flight engineer changed the way that their suicide burn information is. That's cool. So our horizontal speed is basically nil. Our vertical speed is currently about 20 meters per second. So I'm going to go ahead and make a quick save here. And let's see if this suicide burn countdown that they've got here actually works. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to trust Flight Engineer with that one. Let's see, we are currently moving at about 25 meters per second. That is fine. I do want to wait a little bit before we start burning any of this. Of course, we have 16 minutes of burn in this tank. We'll ditch this tank when we're a little bit lower. What is our current terrain altitude? 17 kilometers? Okay. Time to impact of about 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and physics warp up a little bit. Down to about impact time of 2 minutes, I think, is going to be what we're aiming at. And then once we have an impact time of 2 minutes, I'm going to burn off some of our speed here. Not all of it, but a little bit. Okay. So let's burn off some speed. Not a ton. Just a little. There we go. Still just over 2 minutes to impact time. Excellent. Suicide burn altitude is currently 9 kilometers and rising. But the suicide burn countdown is going down. So that is, you know, good. We are currently at a horizontal speed of less than 1 meter per second. So that's also good. We're about 1 minute from our suicide burn. But I still want to burn off as much here as I can. So I think at about 30 seconds on the suicide burn, we will go ahead and burn some nuclear engines. Plural, I guess, even though we've only got one. We'll burn off some nuclear fuel here in a moment. We are currently about 6 kilometers above the surface. 7 seconds. Right about now. And then I'll bring us down to about 50 meters per second. There we go. Right about like that. Okay. I'm now going to ditch that stage. And let's just orient to up. And we have about a minute to suicide. Wow. That word did not come out well. We have about a minute to suicide burn now. So let's just watch as our nearly full nuclear stage just gently drifts away. With any luck, it'll bounce out of the way by the time we get there. It'll speed up pretty substantially. So, suicide burn countdown of about 25 seconds. I'm going to make another quick save because I don't fully trust this suicide burn countdown. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. We do have 14 thrust to weight here. So I'm going to burn a couple seconds early, probably. At about 2 seconds. There we go. Oh boy. Suicide burns are always exciting. Surface velocity minus, please. There we go. Now just up again. Okay. 20 seconds till suicide burn part 2 because I jumped the gun. But that's okay. I'm just fine with that. At this point, I want to ignore the suicide burn and just do this manually. So we are at about 1 meter per second here. That's fine. Let's just hold it steady-ish at about 2 meters per second. Okay, slowly reducing is fine. We are about 60 meters above the terrain right now. Let's drop this slightly so that we're moving so that we're fighting gravity a little bit less. Once more. Accelerating again, up to about 2 meters per second is the target. Okay, now we'll start cutting it again. Just minute little changes. There. I think I'm comfortable with drifting in like this. And we will cut the engines right about now. Oh, that was gorgeous. Okay. Fantastic. So, let's make a quick save here. And let's just turn Smart ASS off so that we're no longer, you know, doing that nonsense. And let's just switch to Kill Rot now. Just hold it right there. Okay, we need to ditch the sky crane. So, let's grab this decoupler here. Throttle up ever so slightly. Get on out of here. Now that is how it's supposed to work. That is just beautiful. I love it. And now just go off and explode. In the meantime, let's just go ahead and extend our antenna and our solar panels. We do have an RTG in this thing, so even if it's night, we should still have enough power to run our lights. So lights on. Fantastic. And here we are on the surface of Bop. Let's go ahead and run our mystery goo observation. We observed the goo. Go ahead and transmit. That'll be fantastic. So we've landed on the surface of Bop, and we also collected experimental data from the surface of Bop. Let's do a temperature scan here. There we go. Atmospheric pressure. No, not another temperature. Atmospheric pressure. Still nothing. Definitely just a space rock. Let's run a seismic scan. A seismic event is detected in the distance, as if a large object had just impacted the surface. That's kind of cool. And we'll transmit that. And we should probably wait for our electric charge to regenerate. So, let's go ahead and do that before we do a gravity scan, since we are almost out of electric charge. There we go. Excellent. Whoa, now. Don't know why that launched us up into the air. It was just time warping. Whatever. Gravity scan. The sensor is giving odd readings here. Well, we'll transmit those odd readings. And in the meantime, we will leave our very jiggly rover here and head on back to the Space Center. Fantastic. So there's a rover on Bop. Next up is almost certainly going to be the rover on Lathe. So let's go ahead and hop into the mission control, see if there's anything new here. Gravimetric surveys of Duna. No thanks. Duna 4 journey, Supreme Ike 4 journey, adjusted orbits. Nothing good. Okay. So we're definitely going to put something onto Lathe then next. There's no way around that. So here we go. As soon as the VAB loads. So it is probably going to end up being a Geraldo Mark II. This has got, what, 1,200 meters per second according to this. It's got 1,400 according to KER, which appears to be more accurate. So I think we should probably ignore the Delta V stats from MechJeb, since that's very inaccurate indeed. I want to check the Geraldo Mark II Semi-Atmo and see what the Delta V there is. Okay. Quite a bit lower, and the major difference is that this just has a pair of drogue chutes on it. So let's go ahead and reopen the standard Geraldo Mark II, which is at this point the better ship. And we'll just toss on a pair of drogues and overwrite the Semi-Atmo. So let's see here, we want utility, a pair of radial mount drogue chutes right there. Excellent. And while we're at it, I want to fix the Gigantors. That didn't fix it. Let's make it radial symmetry. Yeah. That's more like it. Okay. So the Gigantors are now fixed. We tossed on a couple of drogues, so let's save this as the Geraldo Mark II Semi-Atmo, and we'll see if that overwrites it. Yes, overwrite. Fantastic. Okay, well, Let's just double check the staging here. All 5 of those engines fire. We detach off the boosters. The nuclear stage fires. We detach the rover. The sky crane fires. We'll need to check the thrust to weight for the sky crane. And then the drogues and the sky crane are in the same stage. We will probably stick the drogues into their own stage down here. Like that. So that way we can fire the drogues without detaching the sky crane. That would be nice. And I guess MechJeb, I still don't really trust you because you said 3.42 at Bop. And we had 13. But what do you got at Lathe? 0.26. Now that I actually kind of trust. But let's go to Joule, Lathe, and check thrust to weight. 1.01 with max at 1.98. Okay, so we should probably ditch the twitches, and instead, let's run. Do we want to run a thud? What would a pair of? I mean, they're huge. What would a pair of thuds be thrust to weight wise? We would stick them down in this stage. 5.39. That's a little overkill. So instead, what if we were to run Cubs? And again, stick them down into stage 3. That would be a thrust to weight of 2.41 with a burn time of 1 minute and 18 seconds. That's probably viable. Yeah, that should be plenty. I get the feeling that my MechJeb is in dire need of an update. I wonder if it's actually been updated anytime recently. Anyway, let's go ahead and launch this. Also, I just noticed as I was scrolling around there that sometimes the frame rate on the recording is dropping a little bit. I'm going to try closing my Unity project here and seeing what happens. Maybe that would fix it. I don't know why my Unity project would be causing that. It's not running right now, but whatever. Okay, so we should be fine to launch this with MechJeb. So off we go. And we are headed for Lathe, and it should be quite glorious-ish. Okay, so what do you got going on with this roll here, MechJeb? Just go in there? That's fine. I'll just correct it slightly. Okay. So I am hoping that we're able to get this thing landed on Lathe in the next episode. If I manage to get some good timings with the cut here, that would be good. And I think I will, probably. I think I'll be able to cut the transfer from Joule, or from Kerbal to Joule. So that would be great. I'm slightly off on my roll here. Not like it matters, but I'm kind of OCD about that sort of thing. So let's just go ahead and do that. I think I'm still slightly off, but it's good enough. So as soon as we are up to 50 kilometers, we ditch the Airstream protective shell. And apparently we need to manually do our Gigantors because MechJeb is really struggling with a lot of things right now. I mean, last I knew it still hadn't updated from the latest KSP major version, so these problems aren't really a surprise. But MechJeb has some issues right now. Unless it has updated and not told me about it. Which is always a possibility, because I haven't updated MechJeb in a while. Should turn on RCS, so that we don't pitch up too much. There we go. Also, I can't help but notice that Delta V stats are no longer up. Vessel info? No, Delta V stats. There we go. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to turn off RCS once more. And going to deploy our fairing. We don't need that. Gigantors will be deployed right now. You too, Gigantor. There you go. Go prograde. And we're just getting out of here. Boosters are ditched. Excellent. Okay. And off we go. We have a ways to go yet, of course. Going from Kerbal to Jewel, but at this point we've made this journey, what, like 7 times? 8 times? It's been a lot. And we're going to be making it quite a few more times yet. So, strap yourselves in, it's going to be a dull ride. And it is truly glorious. I'm going to go ahead and spin this way so that our Gigantors catch the sun a little bit better. Not that we need it, technically. And going to do something a bit more along the lines of that. Technically, that's a little bit less energy flow, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm not concerned. I'm going to go ahead and push out the apoapsis a little bit further. Cut our engines once we are about right here. That'll be roughly escape velocity. And we should get out there very quickly now. About like that. And let's just get to actual escape velocity. There we go. And finally, let's warp to right about here. That's 1 year away. That's 16 days away. So go there. Fantastic. Now, we do still have about 1,000 meters per second in this thing. It does bear noting that that's slightly less than we had with our last one. The reason for that is because the engines that we're using, the Cubs, are heavier, as well as we have drogue chutes. We didn't have those before. The drogue chutes, I'm going to go ahead and change their min pressure to 0, or as close to 0 as we can get as soon as this warp is done, and their altitude to max as soon as this warp is done, because we want to make maximum use of those drogue chutes. And this warp will be done momentarily. There we go. Fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and change our pressure and altitude to minimum and maximum, respectively. There we go. And this rotation is fine, honestly. We'll go ahead and set Jewel as our target. Get rid of the ascent guidance, open up the maneuver planner. We will match planes with target. We've done this a million times. Create and execute. 187 days. Fantastic. That's fine. Whatever. We'll go ahead and physics warp the actual rotation here. And once again, we'll have about 750-ish meters per second to throw at the actual home end transfer from our regular stage here. And we have lost our probe control. I did tell MechJeb to do that, but we do need to extend our Communitron as soon as this warp is over. It'll only be like 120 days. It's not a big deal. And even if we lose our solar panels for some reason, like they're occluded or something, we do have an RTG in here, so we won't run out of power. That will not be a problem. And then just another couple of days here to warp. And then I'll extend our antenna so that we can actually do things. That tends to help. Right about a pregnant pause, but right about now-ish. There we go. Now I can extend our antenna. Fantastic. Now we have ourselves a solid connection. Well, off we go, changing our inclination. There we go. Our node should be basically perfect. Yeah, basically perfect. And we'll just home and transfer to target, create node. And let's see what that gave us. It did give us an encounter. It is a very spooky encounter that we do not want to do. So let's take a quick look here. We are traveling the correct direction. So all we need to do is push this retrograde slightly. That's still the correct direction. And let's just push this into the orbit of Lathe a little bit. Well, not into it, but just outside of the orbit of Lathe. That'll be perfect. Execute that node. T-minus 1 year, 31 days, and 4 hours. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we will do our transfer. See you all then.